Okay, it's 9 o'clock, October the 5th, and I call this meeting to order. And if you would stand with me for flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, I'd like to thank everybody for coming. Ought to be interesting. Any citizen desiring to be heard would be item 3. Not hearing anybody, we'll go on to item 4, consideration and possible action to approve minutes of September 30th, 2020. Do I hear a motion?
So moved. I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. You don't. And item 5. Wait for Marty here for a second.
Go ahead.
Item 5, consideration possible action to fill vacancy on the Logan County Fair Board representing District Number 1.
Got anything on that, Marvin?
I do. Thank you, sir. Gentlemen, since last meeting, put out some requests, and we've gotten one nomination back from the Fair Board, and none other from any of the other citizens that have interest in the Fair Board and or have been on the Fair Board. I've talked to several folks. But Miss Gina Davis did resign, and we want to first of all thank her for her service and help. She's been an asset to the Fair Board. The Fair Board wants to recommend Marjorie Throckmorton to fill the term of Miss Davis, and so with that, I move we approve that recommendation.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Well, I say aye, so motion carries. Item number 6, consideration possible action to receive update pertaining to civil defense contract of the City of Guthrie.
Yeah, David said he's gonna do this one. I got it.
Thank you.
After speaking with City Manager also, they're pretty much set on continuing the way that it's been done. He said that they'd be willing to pay the 25% since that's the population that's inside the incorporated city limits. I did some math, surprising I know, but it's actually going to be 27%. Several of the municipalities have their own city managers that detract from the total number of 5,318 people. So basically what we have is they're willing to continue with the same they've done over the last several years. We talked about the personnel side of things. I had a conversation with David. We really don't have the need for 2 full-time personnel. As far as part-time personnel would be nice when those situations arise. But Dave really doesn't feel that we could schedule part-time personnel that could really help him based on situations after disaster, stuff like that. Would be great, but it's hard to schedule a part-time personnel if you can't anticipate a need for them. So we've got 2 options: counter with the 27%, or do our own and let the city do their own. I'll leave that up to you guys. If you have to answer any questions.
When you talked about there's other municipalities or cities, townships in the county,
Yes.
that have their own emergency manager. Which ones are those? Which ones?
Well, a lot of those, their people do dual duty, like Cashin's Diego Hernandez, Coles, Carl Long, Tim Bartram, Crescent, Sandy Stevens, Langston is Clinton Winfrey, and Veronica Thomas. Marshall is Mike Garcia, Curtis Taylor. Mall is Roland Taylor. Orlando is Mike Wyckoff. and in Twin Lakes is Mike Gillen and Dwayne Dahlem. Like I said, those are typically your fire chiefs or your police chiefs that assume those added roles, or they do it combined.
Right. Okay.
So they want to divide it up all population.
They feel that that's in Leroy's mind, that's the best way to have a finite cost per population. And I mean, I know, you know, Dave and I have had extensive conversations with this. You know, with the Guthrie Fire District covering a lot of outside of municipalities, that's where David spends a lot of his time in these grass fires and stuff like that, you know, to assist Guthrie Fire, but they're actually taking care of people in the county. So, you know, as far as things inside city limits, I mean, I don't know that there's a whole lot, short of tornadoes, house fires, things like that, that actually, that he really does inside city limits. Some education, stuff like that, but most of our big events are grass fires, things of that nature that actually happen outside the county.
They also charge for that as well. Or they send bills. I don't know if they're collecting, but they do send bills.
Correct. Unless you got a membership.
You know, we pay a sales tax, you know, to have a fire department, but yet we still get an invoice from them. So kind of blows me away.
David, what assistance do you provide the fire department? I mean, I'm a little curious there.
So like when we'll have grass fires, whoever the incident commander is, usually it's Eric, if it's Eric in the district. I'll go sit with him and help him listen to the radio and then make phone calls. So like if it goes more than, if it's really hot, it goes more than a few hours, then we'll call Red Cross and ask for drinks and snacks. If it goes like during a meal period, if something started like 10 o'clock in the morning and they're still at 3 or 4, then Red Cross to bring out burgers or pizza, something like that, something to eat more than just a snack. Then if it goes big enough, then if we're calling, I'll call the state if they ask for a helicopter, if there happens to be one available to do water drops, or, you know, there's been various times I've called you guys asking to see if you have dozers available to help with those fires.
Right. So you're talking about an escalation process that you may or may not be involved in depending upon the size of the emergency that's going on, right?
Correct.
So then do you need to be on site to handle the escalation process? I guess is what
It helps most of it, yeah. I would say yes. It just makes things more efficient, and then I have more of an awareness of what's going on.
Okay. You and I talked a little bit about some of the things that I believe that our emergency management office for the county needs to be a little more involved in, and it has to do with training. Weather watchers, those sorts of things, things that we should do, that I believe that we should do in the county. The coordination of moving from audible sirens to digital and some of the other things. At a 27 or 27%, that works out to be about 2 hours a day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
It does the math.
So yeah, I mean it's 8 hours a day. That's 2 hours a day, 25%. So how much time do you think that you spend doing city work versus county work in that regard?
In the whole grand scheme of things, honestly not. I mean, it's more county than city. I mean, like right now, my biggest focus right now is still our FEMA stuff from our flooding event last May. And the city is pretty much, Shelby's taking care of that on the city side. Now, she'll call me occasionally, or we email occasionally with some questions. But like on the FEMA stuff from the flooding event, where we're doing the 3 road districts and the fairgrounds, the city's taking care of all of their stuff in the city limits on that deal. I mean, it's hard to say, because a lot of times when we were having meetings and we were able to travel and go different places, because of the virus, a lot of that has stopped. You know, when I would sign in Logan County and the city of Guthrie because I'm representing both. But to throw a number on there, just last week for the city, I mean, I maybe 3 or 4 hours last week. I mean, it's not like it's an everyday deal. I mean, there's occasionally I get calls from residents in the city asking different questions, but I don't. I mean, it's not the majority of my time in the week at the moment. Now that could change if something happens in town. I mean, when the building in town burned. I mean, that was basically 2 whole days. When the Byron's building burned, you know, it was up there.
Not
Basically
consistent.
2 days. Yeah, yeah. So it's hard to.
Average out 3 or 4 hours a week, maybe.
Yeah, is what I would say. Yes. And sometimes it's going to be more, but on the average, if you averaged it out, I would say probably 3 or 4 hours.
Damon, what percentage did you come up with that they're paying now?
I think they're paying 24% is what they're paying now. And by my numbers, I show, like I said, excluding those towns that have currently current EMs in place, the difference is 27%, which I mean it's not, which comes to around $14,000 of the $50,000 budgeted.
Troy, do you remember the last time we increased it on the city side?
Serena was the city manager, so how long has Leroy been here? 4 years?
Yeah.
Somewhere in there.
There's been another one between Serena and
Yeah,
Leroy too.
but so I'm at 4 or 5 years.
I mean, you know, we got a cost of living raise every year, and I mean, if they can't come up to, you know, I hate odd numbers. I mean, I'm thinking 30%. I mean, they'll do it. Don't matter to me. I'd like to get all we can.
Well, I'd like to for it to at least be fair. And again, it's one of those deals where the city has a hard requirement to have that function performed. I mean, by statute.
Mm-hmm.
And the county has a requirement to have a county-wide emergency management system and training program and some other things. Again, that I think that, you know, there's some areas that I'd like to focus on. In that, if we can put 30% of our emergency manager's time to something other than that, and still accomplish what I believe we need to do as far as training and some other things that are outlined in the emergency manager's job description for a county. I don't really have a problem with it. I do want to have an escalation process in place, though. I don't believe that just because the city calls and wants our emergency manager to go do something that, I guess my point is, who's he work for, right? Right. Who's the primary responsible for? The challenge that I've always had when you split employees between two entities is who's responsible, who's in charge, who determines how much of what gets done. Right, it's hard to serve two masters. I guess where I'm going with that. Again, I don't have a challenge, supporting the city where we can, but again, I think our primary focus should be on the county emergency management systems. Sure. and getting those updated and upgraded and making sure that we're providing those services to our constituents, all of our constituents.
Yeah.
30%.
I don't care on the percentage, 27 to 30, whatever.
Get all you can.
I mean, if I can get money to help pay someone and serve all the people, that's what it's all about.
Regardless of whether he is
his time is delegated that way, you're still representing their interest in emergency management. And you are the go-to guy. So I'm good with whatever you guys figure out. 30% sounds good to me.
That's what I'll present.
Okay.
Well, do you need a motion on that, or?
Well, I think we need to come back, I think we need to have a contract drawn up with whatever it is that you guys want to do, and come back and talk about that contract. I think right now what we've agreed to do today was receive an update.
You all officially took action to appoint Damon to negotiate. So as far as the percentage negotiation money, to your point, I don't think you need an action on that. I think he can go back and work that out and see if they can land on a number to get a contract created.
So what was the number that, Monty, you thought 30%?
I was 20, I don't care, 30, I mean, why 27? I mean, at least 28, making an even number. Hate odd numbers. Hate them. Make it easy.
Whatever.
Well, how about 58%?
Oh, there you go.
60.
Get all we can get.
Damon, won't you work on a 30% deal and see what you can do? Come back and
I'd be happy to.
see what you got. I appreciate it.
Yeah. It's just negotiating.
Thanks.
Or strength, whatever.
I mean, you guys are my bosses. I know City of Guthrie's not. We just work together, and you know, like on fires, if there was a grass fire today and it's just Guthrie, I don't go to every grass fire. It's usually the bigger ones. If it was a high fire danger day, then we'll usually text amongst ourselves, and then I will start easing that way if it sounds like it's bad. But you know, if it's just, and it's not just Guthrie, but if it's, I mean, there's been many times that Mikey at Orlando, you know, has called me and was like, hey, if we have any fires, start heading this way, just when it's fire danger. So it's not, don't treat one over the other. I mean, we're all in this together. And
Well, they're all taxpayers, so we need to take care of everybody.
correct, yeah, I don't know.
That's true.
Great point.
Nothing against anybody. I'll go help
You're
anybody.
representing all the taxpayers.
Yeah, you know, I told all the fire departments, so I'll go help them anytime.
So the non-taxpayers.
Sometimes
do
they just,
qualify.
you know, yeah. Help them anytime, do anything that I can, and do what we can.
Yeah.
Take care of our citizens
Thanks,
at the end
Dan.
of the day. Thank you.
Are we good? On to item number 7. Consideration and possible action to approve use of ATVs and UTVs on roads in the unincorporated areas of Logan County.
I'm going to ask that this be withdrawn because it's not written the way I'd asked for it to be written. It was for golf carts, not ATVs and UTVs.
Okay. On to item number 8 then. Number 8, consideration and possible action to receive updated information pertaining to all equipment under these lease purchase in District Number 2. So I didn't put this on here, but I guess Marvin's wanting an update, or you're wanting an update, or?
I didn't put it on.
Yeah,
I mean, I read the emails from
sure, from Lowell.
Lowell,
Mm-hmm.
so I guess we're waiting on our appraisal, basically.
Yes, should be noon today or thereabouts. Is that what you're looking for?
Well, I guess what we're looking for is that there is some action taking place that was.
Well, of course.
Well,
I am still the county commissioner in District 2.
that's good to know.
I figured maybe you had forgotten. All right,
So,
not seeing,
hang on. So, I mean, unless you just want to jump from here.
what are you fishing for?
I'm not fishing for anything.
I see.
What I want is to put a plan together to get that grader turned back in prior to you leaving office.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's what I'm looking for.
Right.
It seems like that
Are
hasn't
you-
been forthcoming so far. So what we need is to understand how much the appraised value is, the difference between that and the $185,000 minus any overpayments that you've made, minus the difference between the monthly payment, total monthly payments, and what the contract said. There might have been a $300 difference there. But though that figure, once all of that stuff is done, that's the figure that has to be paid to turn that grader back in. And
You're not telling me anything new.
I know I'm not making this statement for your benefit.
I see.
But it's the public's money, and the public needs to know what's going on.
All right.
And I'd like
That's
for you
your
to,
feeling.
I would like, it is my feeling. I'd
And
like
we
for
will
you to
know.
take an active role in making sure that the public understands what's going on with it.
You know, normally we would be working with Caterpillar to get another grader to replace that one with, again, on a lease purchase agreement. But as I'm not the county commissioner come next year, then we will not be negotiating for anything like that. Is that what you're looking for?
No, I'm looking for what it's going to cost the taxpayers to turn it back.
Well, that's not known.
Not right now. That's why
Well,
why
we're
I'm
pursuing
asking.
that.
All right.
I am the county commissioner in District 2, and we are pursuing that. I'm just not understanding why you're salivating over this so much.
I'm not sure I'm salivating over anything. I just
Okay.
want
All right.
the
Well,
people,
we're handling it.
I just want the people of the county to understand how much of their tax money is going to have to go back to turn that grader in.
Okay.
That's what I want to understand.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll find out what that figure is, and if you want me to report that, I can do that. But that's just one of those ongoing expenses. We'll be handling that.
Okay. So when will you think you have that information to report back on it?
What, the information amount?
What you just said that you would be happy to bring back?
I would assume we'll have it there this next meeting.
Okay, thank you. So we'll put it on the agenda for next meeting.
Yeah, if that's
Talk
what
about
you
that.
wish.
Thank you.
All right. Item number 9, discussion possible action without going deep to commissioner to publicly gain his concurrence of an official request for a turnover audit to be conducted by the SANI of Oklahoma. I assume this is yours also.
This was, I was asked to have this put on the agenda
I see.
by a concerned citizen.
I see.
I thought it's pretty standard practice when you leave office that we always do a turnover audit.
Right there in between them. Right. District 2, whoever the commissioner is, outgoing, incoming, they do an audit. And they do it as close to the transition as they can. And so they'll be there and they will do a turnover audit. In the meantime, yes, we've been going through everything and we believe that we have everything that's on our inventory.
So you've requested a turnover audit through SANI?
I don't believe is that required.
Yes, it is.
I mean, okay.
The outgoing
We gotta call into
The
it.
outgoing commissioner has to request the turnover audit. And that's,
I just think for your safety, you ought to do it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but you don't want to do it right now because you still have almost 3 months before it actually gets turned over.
no, but you should probably get on SANI's schedule. I mean, it's not like they're going to be able to jump through a hoop within 5 days and get out here if you wait until December the 25th.
Well, all right, whatever you say. We have a call in here. We'll find out. I assume you've already called her. All right.
So
Is that it on item number 9, or do you have more to bloviate about?
I'm not sure to bloviate. But
Okay.
if you wouldn't mind getting us a date back when they're going to be able to come and start that, that would be handy information for the public to know as well.
Sure.
Thank you, Commissioner.
You bet. Item number 10, consideration and possible action to approve quote from Service Wing Organic Solutions for purchase of Analyte disinfecting system installed with 5-year maintenance plan
in the amount of $74,612.50.
So Commissioners, you're aware we have them come down and look at installing the disinfectant manufacturing machine in the basement at the courthouse. This is a 300-gallon per day unit. The 600-gallon isn't that much more, but it will not fit in the space that we have. And so the gentleman walked all over it, and the sheriff is aware. David did the walkthrough with them. We've got to take down a wall that's in the way, and it's a minor wall. It was one the sheriff put up to build a little storage room to allow this installation. And this is CARES Act that is taking care of this. So, and I sent you all, emailed you all this information when we first looked into it. So that is, they need a signature to be able to move forward.
Discussion?
This have to be in a environment controlled spot.
That wasn't brought up as being an issue for it being downstairs. The biggest thing was water and electricity for the way that it works. I don't think we have a freezing issue down there at all. It's an on-demand type system. It works much like a on-demand water heater. And then it'll generate 300 a day into a storage tank system that we then will fill up smaller tanks from.
Any risk? I mean, I don't know what this chemical is.
It isn't a chemical. It works solely on water and a filtration and electrostatic system. So it raises the pH of water to a level that it kills virus. It has an EPA number and it's NIH approved. It is constructed out of a company in Tulsa. The state itself has bought 8 or 9 units, and numerous cities and counties have installed these systems. So it has a gallon cost, estimated cost to manufacture. A gallon is 0.4 cents per gallon. If I remember right, Damon even mentioned that he's tasted it because it is not actually a chemical. It is an alteration of water.
It explains a few things right there.
Alteration of water.
And I've talked to several counties and cities. We know the state has bought 7 or 8 of them. They seem to be a very
Excited the state's doing so.
very handy. Well, I've talked to several counties too that have installed this. And the thought process was that we could generate for public entities within the county to fill up with disinfectant and be able to use it, schools, whatever, without having to outsource for chemicals. So,
Acid water.
yeah, it's a really an incredible thing. Like I said, they have an EPA number and they're NIH approved.
So what it takes, kind of Jamie?
It tastes like swimming pool water.
Like what?
Swimming pool water.
You know what's in there.
There's no pee in the pool.
So this is on state contract? I mean,
Well, there's 2 different things. First off, it qualifies under the governor's emergency order for purchasing, and it is a sole source as the only manufacturer with an EPA number on this particular type product.
So the reason for this is to allow the county on our own to disinfect the courthouse when we need to, when we have something like a COVID case come up and we'll need to shut down the courthouse temporarily to disinfect areas, and we'll use this system to do that
Right.
with.
Part 2 of this is the purchase of the sprayers that
Right.
every office will have so that we can several times a day spray. Custodian will have a sprayer unit to go through.
What does it normally cost to have an outside agency come and do that type of thing?
The last outside agency was just under $6,000.
And that's per event, right? So, yeah.
I mean, a dozen uses, something like that.
well, if we do get, I'd be interested to have that water tested versus what comes right out the tap. 'Cause
Dan?
Not sure it's gonna be a lot different.
Especially Guthrie water.
Well, and if I may, with this, with the sprayers, you guys, if you wanted to, you know, in all of your district vehicles, you could go through and spray them as well. You know, every day or 2 times a day or once a week or whatever you wanted to do. So it'd definitely be beneficial.
So I have lined up the company for sprayers. It's a different company. After talking to several counties that were using things like paint sprayers and that, they weren't holding up. The internal rings were not holding up to being able to constantly do this. So there's an electrostatic sprayers are actually available that are made to handle this type of product. That's a different company. I've got the paperwork submitted to set up the account to make the purchase from them. Every office would receive their battery operated, so we don't have to worry about cords. They're a handheld, look much like a paint gun or a drill, like a cordless drill. So like in my office, I can run around and take care of it myself. We can leave our custodial staff to the big surface items, the building up and down. That said, the same company, which is John Donn out of Texas, also, and I didn't know this till last week, manufactures a sprayer. It's battery, it's on wheels, but it has a carry load of like 2 or 3 gallons. So it's made for someone that's trying to do walls, floors, you know, that kind of surface area. Also available. My plan was to purchase 3 of those type sprayers, one for Paul for these buildings, one for the jail. They have a lot of surface area, go through the building, all of that, and one at the fairgrounds to be able to walk through and spray with that.
I can see where that would be handy in the pods back in the jail area too. Yeah.
The company is out of stock currently on that machine. I'm trying to find out exactly when it'll be back in stock, and I can get my hands on 3 of them.
So this system that we're talking about today is the one that produces the disinfectant, and then the sprayers will come later.
Have any idea what they'll run?
The sprayers,
Yeah.
the handheld units with batteries are 1,500, and the push units are 4,500, I believe.
Jeez.
I will tell you that if the board chooses to go forward with this analyte equipment, once I get that sent to them, they will drive and deliver us a tote. I think it's 200 gallons, and they will keep us in disinfectant while they're preparing and constructing the machine to be delivered.
So who are you gonna get to remove the wall?
Well, I'm hoping some trustees and Paul, because it's really not much there. It's not much of a
Yeah,
wall.
it'll take half a day to get that wall out.
All right.
There's some good lumber there if you guys need it too. If you guys need any good lumber, there's some good 2x4s there. I hate to throw them all away.
Paul said he had a place for
Never mind. I already sold money back.
Very efficient. Very efficient.
Oh, that auditor's here.
If I may, I do think that this is a good way to allow us in the long term to save money, stay on top of what we need to do, not just as far as COVID, but colds, flus. Anytime you have people gathering, you have germs.
Right. Troy, you've done the most research on this. Is this something you'd recommend we approve?
I do.
I so move then.
Thank you.
Second.
I need the chairman's signature.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I second that. So all those in favor?
Marvin said aye.
Oh, I'm sorry. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so motion carries. All right.
I have no items for 11 and 12.
No, 11, no 12. Item 13, consideration possible action on the consent agenda.
Dennis, are you just bored today?
No, I got plenty to do. I gotta come back at 11, right, Troy?
Yes, sir. Transfers from
Wait.
previous fiscal
Yeah.
years.
Well, you don't have to, but
Yeah, true.
You know how this
True.
works. Out of the room, out of the room, out of the deal.
Yeah, I understand completely, so yeah.
And then here's cash funds.
I can go to the office for a little bit, man. The problem is, well, I go there, then I get to work.
Commissioner, I forgot to give these to you. These are your,
Blankets.
yeah,
Just
down there,
thank you.
please.
Smart, smart idea. I'm gonna try that. Guys, pleasure as always. Y'all have a good day.
Thank you.
Sounds pretty good.
Troy would probably be the one to ask, but did we get a dollar amount that Logan County received for CARES Act funds? I know the city got like $898.
I think it's roughly 2.3 maybe. Divided off population.
Unincorporated.
I'm just pointing that out.
Yes,
It's how it's divided up.
yes, unincorporated.
I'll make it work. I'll give him Paul, but he said he had
Very soon, you want that out of there. I wonder how that would work on 911 applications. That doesn't work by population, I'll tell you that.
Before the question was asked, Logan County's portion of the CARES Act was it not 2.3?
Yes. I'm working on putting together a spreadsheet. This has become a very complicated accounting. 2 different fiscal years involved, all the different departments involved. We have currently received, and those cash funds are for funds affected in fiscal year 2021, 1.6 million. So far we've received back. Now a big chunk of that went to the bank because it involved reimbursement for funds expended in 1920. Cash funds,
1920.
We're still paying loans from there?
I knew we were behind, but
okay.
That was back before Prohibition, too,
Okay,
wasn't
well,
it?
but you have to remember from fiscal year 1920 ended June 30th of this year.
1920, are you kidding me?
Fiscal year 2019,
Oh,
2020.
Not 1920, you keep saying 1920.
Well, it is.
It's confusing.
FY 19 dash FY 20.
FY.
Oh.
That's why I'm confused.
Okay, so
We're all with it.
the reimbursements received for expenditures from last fiscal year, if it was for a cash fund such as the sheriff's service fee or the board of prisoners account, they got that back. But if it was for a general fund expenditure or a public health fund expenditure, it had to go to the bank for the next fiscal year. That was part of the resolution that was passed. So we've had to separate that out. Reimbursements for expenditures beginning July 1st of this year through what will be October 31st, unless they give us an extension, and I'm really hoping they do, we'll be able to go back to, again, to the cash funds, but any expenditure from general fund was designated to go back to general M&O. So you'll notice that you have a cash fund there for $280,000 that's going to general government M&O. And there'll be some more of that later on. That is what we're going to use to buy this nifty machine and sprayers. And all the hand sanitizing stations that are piling up in the I would also like to get several more cases of masks stocked up. However, I will tell you, I have a personal problem buying masks that's made anywhere other than the United States. The problem is USA made masks cost a little bit more. I personally have paid for my own personal masks the higher amount because I just can't bring myself to buy them.
I'm not the only
Chinese
one.
face masks.
Never go for slave labor.
I just can't. But before the meeting today, I was looking at ordering a couple more cases to have on hand. I don't think that this is going to end real quick.
It's an interesting dichotomy, having to order face masks from the same place the virus came from.
I just won't. So I'm asking with your blessing to let me pay a little bit more money than the cheapest so that we don't do that.
Cheap ain't always good.
Not always the best.
Lowest and best is the best part comes into play there, I think.
I think so.
Is that it? Did you have on the consent?
I only have some blankets. I'm sorry. I'm not used to having blankets at this first meeting.
So do they just write you a $2.3 million check and you just?
So because it's a reimbursement, the way the system
Oh,
is set up,
reimbursement.
yes. They have it online, it's set up to do online, and I have to submit the purchase orders, proof of payment, the invoices, the payroll claims, the affidavit, I mean, all of the documentation has to be submitted. And then it's categorized. We have to go in and fill out what category the expense was for, which has been interesting too.
So you have up to 2.3 million.
That's the cap that the
That's the
county
cap.
can get. That was just the eligible cap for the county.
So let's say you spend 1.7 million. Where's the?
I believe the state gets to lay claim to what happens to it, which is why they've shorted us on time. We have to have everything reported to the state October 31st. The federal cutoff was December 31st, but the state needed a month to work it all up.
Of course it did.
I'm really hoping not that they give us more money, but that they extend our deadlines. We're still in the middle of this deal. And I've actually already sent an email to one of our United States senators asking if he would be open to helping to get a deadline extension.
I've heard that as well.
well. I think OEM, I believe, is trying to do, working on
Yeah,
extensions. There's different folks trying to get extensions.
The problem isn't the money at this point, it's the extension of time.
That's it.
And I will tell you, and this will serve not only for us, but every other county in the state and most all municipalities, because the federal single audit limits are $750,000 in a year. This throws everyone into a federal audit situation. So with all the FEMA money that we've received, you couple that with this, everybody's going to be under federal audit because of it. So
That's a lot of auditing.
I think I'm done.
Yeah.
I'll move to approve the consent agenda items.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Any citizen desiring to be heard? Not hearing anybody popping up. Item 15, comments, announcements, questions by the Board of County Commissioners. Marvin, you got anything?
Nothing other than to kind of follow up with the interim study for CERB. I'm really looking forward to some positive changes coming out of that. I think, again, Senator Hall's done a great job bringing that to the forefront, and there's several groups that want to maintain the status quo, but I think there's a lot more interest now in trying to do something for all the counties, and the one size fits all, you either take it this way or well, you have to take it this way, right? So none of us that want to change really want to force that change on other people. If they want to continue with ODOT managing the funds and that, I think that what we proposed as far as legislative change will allow that to happen. So the big CEDs that want to continue to manage those funds, as long as the counties that are in the CEDs want to go along and think that's a good idea, and a lot of them have said that they believe that, then they should be able to do that. But they shouldn't force other counties to have to follow that same footprint, especially when we can use that money to do our own projects with, and probably with our own contracts, and do it a lot less expensive and get a lot more done for the people of the county. And that's all I have. Thank you.
I guess I got a question. When will you be done with the lay-down machine?
Depending upon Campbell's, should be within a few days.
10-4.
You're going to come get it, are you?
I will.
Okay.
If you don't need it.
Yeah.
I need it. So.
Well, let's clean it up first. We will. And we'll have it ready for you to lay down.
10-4.
All right, sir. And, I still have that bridge coming up. I have to watch the CERB meeting there at the Capitol. Marvin, you did display yourself well. Thank you. I agree with you about the dissension with a few counties, but I also look at the amount of money that we're getting because of that emergency distribution of CERB money kind of raises the question, that motor vehicle use tax. We used to get a lot of that. And then when the schools came along, they got it for the school buses and all that. And I don't mean to bring that up right now, but on the other side of the coin, if we had for maintenance and operations that 15 to 20% that currently goes into CERB, and I'm not saying they ought to take it away from CERB, I think they ought to have an additional amount that goes for our maintenance and operations. I think we deserve it, we need it, and that's just the long and short of it. But that's my opinion. And they're going to do whatever they want to do anyway. So
I think they'll just give us what they waste, and we'll be in pretty good shape. I
think we'd really be singing if we got what they wasted. Yes, sir. So, consideration possible action on adjournment number 16.
I'll move.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Get out of here. Meeting's adjourned.
Reminder, we have a meeting at 11.